children are very honest. They're like animals. If they don't like you, they really don't like you. They like you, they cry, they spit, all sorts of things. But if they do like you, you've got them forever. So children, I think to be a good baddie in a pantomime, you can't be really nasty because they just go home. But if you give them permission to hate you and they know that you're going to meet your comeuppance, they love it. And I love playing baddies. I think they're the best parts. I don't know what anybody else thinks, but I think scaring people and then making them laugh in the same scene is brilliant.
Presumably you can recognise just how well you've come down, because the more boos you get at the curtain call, the more you've done your job correctly.
I'll tell you a story. I did a play I did a season actually at Nottingham Playhouse many years ago. Richard Dale was the director there. And I did what probably was not my first panto, but my first kind of show, musical show, that was like a pantomime. It was The Wizard of Oz, so of course it was Christmas time. There you go. And I was playing the baddie, first time.
Oh, at the Wicked Witch of the West?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was petrified. I thought, what if they like me? What will I do? I'll go on and they'll go, yay, hurrah! I think, no, it's going to be really hard. And so I was shaking in the wings. And when I went on and got my first boo, it was so thrilling that I was hooked. Oh, good! And I remember I did a pantomime many years later to that, and I took my stepdaughter with me to the show, and she watched the audience. And she was sitting in front of her family, and apparently at the interval, when everybody got up to go and have a wee and have a drink, the little boy said to his mum, he said, "Where's she gone?" And the mother said, where's who gone, darling? "Where's that horrible queen gone?" And she said, "Well, probably she's having a rest." And he said, "Good, is she coming back?" And I thought, that's the trick, isn't it? To be loved, hated, but loved at the same time. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a magical thing. Your first television appearance, I believe, was Playaway.
Yes. Oh. Do you remember it, anybody?
So, what did you actually do in Playaway?
I played the girl on the spot, which was a roving journalist that used to go around and kind of interview some of the characters that lovely Brian Camp dreamt up, and just generally have fun and sing all the lovely songs that we sang and just have a ball, really. Got to work with some wonderful people. It was my very first TV, and I was telling you earlier, wasn't I, that there was a lovely, I did a rock and roll show many years ago, and there was a lovely choreographer on the show, and years later, when I did my first Playaway, she was the choreographer, and she came running up to me, Pat Adams, her name was, she came running up, she said, darling, isn't it exciting, your first television, it's Playaway, such a good idea. And I said, why do you say that? She said, well, darling, you've got so much energy, you're liable to just burst the camera lenses. But with this, you can be as jolly as you like because it's children. And you know, she was right, because I learned my technique from working with those cameramen and gradually honing it down till I realised you don't have to sell it to the world, Anita, just that one little box over there. So that was the training.
And that was followed up by your first drama was an appearance in Nanny with Wendy Craig.
Yes.
Any thoughts or memories of that?
Oh, a very big one. She was lovely, and I was very nervous because I was young, and it was not long after Playaway, and I had a scene where I was playing the downstairs maid, typecast, and I was sitting by the fire buttering some toast or crumpets, and Wendy was sitting at the table sort of interviewing me. It was a sort of murder mystery thing, and I remember we started the scene, and of course I wanted to be, you know, a good little actress, so I buttered those muffins, and every time I did it, it went and I thought, oh, I can't butter them while I'm talking, I'll just do my bit. And of course, Wendy was talking. So I had to wait while both of us took a breath and went, but it was great. great fun. She was very humorous about it.
Booms can pick a lot up.
They sure can.
I think we should probably talk about Indus. Yeah. As we know, it was the biggest ever audience. Biggest ever audience for
Thanks, darlings.
biggest ever audience for Slope. Christmas 1986, 30.15 million. Those were the days, weren't they? It came in and it just blew things away, didn't it? And you did what, 3.5 years? And you never went back until just very, very recently. Now, I watched Sharon's hallucination, and if I could just say one thing, without being disrespectful, your hair was a different colour. What made you go back?
I'd hummed and hawed it. I'm not a person that goes back. It's got to be a really good reason. It's like love affairs. You don't go back, not unless it's for a really good reason. But when they came up with this idea, it was actually Letitia that actually brought it on. I went there to do the documentary, the podcast that went out, and they all came onto the set to say hello, which was lovely, and the producer came down, and Tisha stood up and went, "Can't you get her back?" And I went, like that. And then they asked me if I would do that scene. And I thought, And then I thought, well, actually, people still keep asking me, would I go back? And I said, I can't, she's dead. And they go, yeah, but we didn't see the body. We didn't see a bag lady in a corner. We haven't seen any of that. You could be alive somewhere. So I thought, if I do this for Tish, because I wanted to work with her again, and also it would be closure for Angie Watts and for Anita Dobson. And I'm so glad I did it, because I had a lovely time actually getting ready for the scene with all the girls, performing with Tish, and I thought it was okay, wasn't it? Mm. Yeah.
It really was.
So the next thing will be not never seen a TARDIS before. It'll be never seen a ghost before.
You, I'd say you're in Casualty 5 times in different roles. Probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh.
All right, we'll move on from that.
Can you remember all of them?
No.
Neither can I.
You were the subject of a television show that I think is long overdue a revival. This Is Your Life in 2002.
Yeah, I did that show.
If there is one programme that I think would be perfect for half an hour every week in the modern era, it's that. But what was it like getting the shop?
All right, I'll tell you a secret, because I'm much older now and it's okay to talk about it, but my agent then said to me, Barry Burnett, he said to me, do you know Barry? Oh, he's lovely. He said to me, there's a rumour that they might be asking you to do This Is Your Life. And I went, oh, okay. And he said, well, how do you feel? I said, well, I'll only do it if you tell me when it's happening. He said, but that's the whole point, darling, we're not supposed to tell you. So I said, well, that's the deal. If they want me to go on, you, Barry, have to tell me when it's happening. I'm the actress. I'll act it. So true to form, my darling Barry said, well, I'm not sure. He said, but I think it could be at the end of, I was doing a tiny bit of filming at the airport, and he said, I think it could be then. So I said, okay. So I went home, and I said to Brian, I think I'm going to do It's Your Life. And he went, oh no. I said, why are you having that reaction? He said, well, it's me, I'll have to get all the together, the clothes, and figure out what you're going to wear and what earrings, and it'll all be wrong. I went, no.
That's the same for any husband, I have
Absolutely,
to tell you.
that's their job, isn't it? I said, no, because I know when it's going to happen, so I will pack the bag with the dress, with the shoes, with the makeup, with the jewellery. All you have to do is turn up. How's that? And he went, great, I'll do it. So I was ready and prepared, and I did look surprised. If you watch that clip, I do look surprised. But it was lovely. It was like being in warm water. Lots of people that you love coming along and saying lovely things about you. And yeah, you're right. It should be on every week. Yeah.
Even though we got social media, we got the internet, we got Wikipedia, they would still, if they researched properly, they'd still find things out.
Of course they would. And don't you think in this day and age that there should be things that are lovely, that we see things where people laugh, are happy, say lovely things about each other? Lord knows there's enough horrors going on in the world, so let's have some really happy things on TV.
I agree with you. Says the woman who played Angie Watts in EastEnders.
Let's be happy, that's what I say.
So, another string to your bow, and this is when I used to watch it, Strictly, 14 years ago.
All right.
This is your life as 23 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Well, no, but Strictly.
But I'm still here.
Yeah. Tell us what, you rehearse. Obviously, there's been issues in the last few years about what happens behind the scenes. But you could dance, couldn't you? You weren't a professional dancer, but you could step, shuffle, change, and all that sort of thing. Yeah, you could do the basics and a bit more. What is it like when you're having to do the intense rehearsals, week upon week upon week, and then performing live in front of 12 million people?
I tell you, when you hear that music playing, it goes, the thing comes out, yeah, and they say, and now dancing the whatever it is, the tango, is, it's like a rabbit in headlights, and you just want to run. It's terrifying, especially when you're not a dancer, and I'm a bit scatterbrained, and probably I'd forget counting the steps. Most really brilliant professional dancers count. That's why Harry Judd was so good. He's a drummer. Every count mattered. Yeah. I turned it down 3 times, and on the third asking, my best friend said to me, "Why do you keep saying no? You love the show." I said, "Because I'm scared I'll make a fool of myself." She went, "Darling, you're 62, who cares?" And she was right. And I said, "You know what, that's true. I'm going to do it." So I did.
And you got a long way as well. Did you get to Blackpool or not?
I did.
That's surely...
No, it wasn't Blackpool. I got to Wembley. Yeah, where my husband's played. Yeah.
Oh, wow. But you got a long way in, didn't you?
I got just over halfway. And I remember when we did get to Wembley, it was so exciting for me. And I remember when they did call my name, people like yourselves where you're sitting were coming up to me going, "Hi, I'm really glad to see you. I'm so glad. Good luck with the show." And I was like, "Yeah, it's exciting up here. I never thought I'd do." And I looked over and Robin had started without me. And I thought, "Oh my God," I dashed onto the floor and had a ball, and we got through, which was great. We got knocked out after that, but we did get through that bit, and I loved it. And Robin Windsor was phenomenal to work with. God rest his soul. Yeah, he was. He was brilliant.
Are there any memorable comments from any of the judges that stuck in your mind all this time?
Yes. When we did, we did a salsa, that's right. And I wanted to look like, if anybody can remember her from the Hollywood movies, Carmen Miranda. I wanted to look like that, a bit sassy. And I remember afterwards, Craig Revel Horwood, bless him, he said to me, "You look like Bonnie Langford on acid." And I thought, good, that's exactly the look I was going for.
Yeah, you can always rely on Craig for a cutting comment.
He's made a living out of it, good for him.
He's playing a role, isn't he?
Yeah.
Certainly the original.
And he's very good.
Yeah.
He's lovely.
That's good. Musical theatre, something you've done quite a lot. Wicked, Chicago.
Oh, it's time's up.
I've lost my track. Any particular favourite?
Favourite show?
Musical
Oh,
show.
that's difficult. There's different shows that I love doing for personal reasons, and some shows I love doing because they were just fantastic shows. I did The Boyfriend when I was but a girl, and I played Hortense, the French maid. Maids again, you see, typecast. And I fell in love while I was doing the show, and it was just one of those happy shows, you know, like I was saying, I like things that are happy. And what else did I love? Oh, I did a rock and roll show, Leaving to Heaven. That was fantastic too. Wicked was interesting. The Americans are very different to the British about dance. You have to move on numbers. I understand now why they do that with the big shows, because if you go to Australia, you know, if you enter as Madame Horrible on 6 and you leave on 2, then if you go to Australia, you do exactly the same thing. They don't have to sort of work you in. You're already there. But for me, I've never worked on numbers. So all the time they say, Anita, what number are you standing on, darling? And I go, 4. They go, no, you should be on 7. Oh, okay, sorry. They say, if you don't, you'll get mown down by the chorus. But please, 7. So gradually, and then the one, just before we opened, Petra, the choreographer, said, Anita, darling, what number are you on? And I went, 6. She went, well done. We open on Tuesday. So it was a different learning curve. But yeah, I love musicals. I was never a dancer, never a singer. But I suppose the kind of person I am lent itself quite well to movement, because I tend to be a busy little animal. And also, I can hold a tune. So,
which we'll come to shortly if we
I'm not going to
top
sing.
5 success. You've played Miss Hannigan in Annie, which I think is one of the great roles, especially for someone not in their 20s. And you have the great number Easy Street with your brother and his girlfriend, and they're all... Anyone know Annie, Easy Street from Annie? I think it's by far and away the best song in the show, rather than Hard Knock Life or Tomorrow or whatever. But that must have been... if I could play Miss Hannigan, I would die happy.
So you shall.
Great. So, singer. Yeah, anyone can fall in love. Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Number 4 in the charts in 1986. And on top of the pops, more than once. Yes.
It was bizarre though, because when I did Anyone Can Fall in Love, I remember standing there thinking, no, what am I playing here? Anita Dobson? Angie Watts? A pop star? I don't know. Anyway, just sing the song. So that was that. But when we did, Brian and I did a record together, and it did very well. And he had a little silver, oh no, I know what it was. It was I Want It All. I remember we were having a bit of an argument. He said, why are you in such a rush to get everywhere? I said, you know, take your time, enjoy the ride. And I said, because I want it all and I want it now. And he went, hang on a second, rushed off, left the room, and was going, no, and it became, I Want It All. So, to say thank you to me for the inspiration, God bless him, he had me a little silver disc made. That's sweet. So, yeah, I did quite well in the charts, didn't I? I was an inspiration.
Well, you did better than anyone else here, I would say.
You don't know that. There could be a hidden genius out there.
That's great. I said to you earlier, myself and Jonathan, my colleague, we are such huge Simon May fans. He's produced some fantastic music over time, hasn't he? And he's had quite a large number of top 10 hits and other things. And then the themes, obviously, Howard's Way, EastEnders.
Yeah, he's done some great stuff. He was lovely to work with. So was Brian May too. And we worked with May.
It's not Brian's older brother, is he, perchance?
No, but people do get confused. They go, how lovely that you wrote the EastEnders tune, Brian, because I didn't.
I don't suppose that's a very smart thing to say to you.
He's all right about it.
Must be used to it. Do we have any questions, please, ladies and gentlemen?
Do that again, go on. Lovely, let me back in panto. I'd be okay. I've had a really good career. I had a ball playing there, and I was the first. But if somebody else wanted to come in and take over, I wish them good luck. You know, have a ball, run with it. I don't see how they would they could bring somebody to replace the character that she was, you know, someone that's a drinker, but it would be very hard. I don't think you could call her Angie, it just wouldn't work. But anybody that would take my place, like, you know, you do takeovers on stage, don't you, and in musicals, I just think, good luck, go for it. I've had a ball, now you have it, it's your turn. I don't suffer that kind of jealousy. I don't think like, why are you doing that? Why have you got a CV and I haven't? Why have you done this? That's never entered my head. I love this job, and I'm so lucky at the people like yourselves that I've met, that I just wish everybody good luck. I don't feel any kind of, oh, she's got that part. I just think it's not your turn right now, Dobson. It's her turn. But just you wait. And when you do get your turn, make sure you do it well.
That's very generous of you.
Speaking of Brian, he's an accomplished astrophysicist.
Where are your
How did that come?
Sorry.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
Yes. Is he a fan, and what's his take on you having a part in Doctor Who?
He was very scared of the Daleks when he was little. That's the first thing he said. Oh, those Daleks. I said, yeah, but they couldn't get up the stairs. Why were you so scared? He said, everybody was scared of the Daleks, and they were, weren't they? I think they should bring them back, don't you? Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens in the next series, eh?
Not saying anything, but shoot me. I would be shot. But yeah, I think he just thinks it's great that I've had a sort of renaissance, if you like. You know, that who knew that little nosy Parker, Mrs. Flood, would become kind of a sort of a coveted figure, that people would sort of hold her up as somebody that's fun to watch. And well, what's she going to do next? Who is she? Why is she? What they're going to do with her. So I'm so proud of it. I love playing her, and I'm very grateful to Russell T Davies for letting me play the part. But I think he just thinks that I'm just having fun, and I am.
I think it was when you broke the wall at the end of the church on Ruby Road, that suddenly said, hello, what's going on here now? And that really set it up beautifully.
Do you know, Brian actually said to me, as soon as he saw it, when it came out on the screen, he went, whoa, you're going to be trending tomorrow.
Absolutely true.
So yeah.
Yes, please.
Hello. Anita, can I ask you, Dirty Death, what a great commission. What was it like working with
Well, he was a terror. He was on and off screen. He was a terror. But he went to Webber Douglas too. He did, yeah. Yes, what a career, eh? From prison to, top of the ratings. But we were lucky. I was lucky anyway, because when I got cast, I went along to do a rehearsal with Letitia and Leslie and Rowley, and from the get-go, we did a tiny bit of the scene, we finished the scene, stopped, and he just stood up and went, yes, brilliant! That's what he did. And I thought, yeah, I know, it's good, isn't it? We actually clicked. And he used to say, my mouth shuts, yours opens. Your mouth shuts, mine opens. We covered each other's back. Nobody ever knew if we tried, if it had gone wrong. We just carried on because we had an understanding. It was really magical. So we didn't hang out much as like mates, because we were both scared we'd spoil the magic, if you know what I mean. We wanted it to stay special, and it was right the way through. And in the same vein, Letitia came up just as we finished that little scene and tapped me on the shoulder, and she went, yeah, Mum, here's a cup of tea. I was in.
Fantastic. Any more questions, please? Yes, Phil.
Anita,
Yes.
what was it like being Mrs. Flood at Royal Albert Hall?
Oh my God, little Mrs. Flood at the Albert Hall. That's amazing, isn't it? Well, Russell said, would you like to come along and do a Doctor Who prom? And I thought, oh, I didn't know you had such a thing. I'd love to, I'm sure Mrs. Flood would too. And I got to wear that beautiful cloak again. Wasn't it gorgeous? Where is it now?
We'll find out in the
No,
next
it's on
8
tour.
weeks.
It's on tour. It's
Oh,
on tour
right.
on its own, on tour. But I didn't really get an introduction. They just kind of let me wander on with my little parasol and my suitcase and my lovely fur coat. So I kind of, between the orchestra, we were all going, but the reaction I got, I never expected at all. I was blown away. It was so lovely. And then I had to go and do it again for the second show, which was even more lovely. And I went to have something to eat with Russell T Davies in between the shows, and he said to me, "What about you then? 5 lines and you took the house down." And I went, "Yes, Russell, but they were your 5 lines."
I was going to ask if it was scripted because it was a lot more than 5 lines.
You know, I'm exaggerating.
Did you get away without living on it? Expanding your part?
A little bit. I mean, he's really good. I just say to him, "Can I just?" But he went, "Yeah." But basically, he writes it, you deliver it. That's the deal, and I think it's a good one.
Excellent. Any more questions, please?
Yep.
This young man.
Russell wrote her in the Christmas episode just as a nosy Parker, one of those women that knows what everybody in the street is doing, and if she doesn't, she'll find out. And so I just played it, that Christmas episode, thinking, well, this is a little gift. Well, how lovely to be in the Christmas episode of Doctor Who. And then he asked me to come back, and then he started to write for me. So it was his creation. Yeah, which I've been allowed to play, and I'm very grateful. I love her.
Is at the back?
What did you think of the biopic Bohemian Rhapsody? Did you like Gwilym Lee?
Oh, he was brilliant, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He looks like him. It's incredible how much he looks like him.
But also have the mannerisms, that thing Bri does with his hands. You know, when he's talking, he's always, and he does that little sort of flick. He had the lot, had it down to a T. I went along on the first day of filming when they were doing Live Aid, and Will was dressed as Brian outside the studio, and Brian was standing next to him. So it was like, whoa! Before and after, wow! So yeah, I think he did an absolutely amazing job, and Brian did too. He thought he was fantastic, yeah. Because when I first met Brian, he used to do a thing like this with his hands, and I thought it was because he was nervous, because it was me. It wasn't. It was because in his head, all the time, he hears a riff, like a tune. That's where the inspiration comes from. Isn't that magical? Yeah. He gets nervous now, though. Now that we've been married for 28 years. God. Yeah. Not bad, though, is it? They said it would never work.
It'd be fair to say you're an unlikely couple, but that's no disrespect to you or Brian.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. We could not be more different. He's a genius, I'm a div brain.
I didn't mean that.
No, it's true though, it is. I mean, he never stops thinking, doing, planning, reading, writing, creating. I mean, he works for NASA. I make the tea. We're different in everything. We even communicate differently. I mean, he'll say something, I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, I meant that. I said, but you didn't say it. Argument. Because we just come from different walks of life, but they say that opposites attract, so
Absolutely.
we're still here.
That's good. Any questions at the top? Sorry, I'm struggling to see you, Corey. No? Oh, all right, I might stay back down at the bottom there. Any more questions, please, folks? Yeah, in the corner there.
Hey, thought no one's going to fall up there. You were in Inside Number 9 with the episode Mother's Ruin with Phil Daniels and Reese and Steve.
Yes.
How much fun was that to make? Because that was a very bloodthirsty 30 minutes of
I
time, and it
know.
was fantastic.
It was, wasn't it? I was a bit. When my agent sent the script to me, she said, "You've been asked to do a series, very good, very famous series, brilliant writers, Inside Number 9. Read the script." So I did, and I rang her back and I said, "Michelle, this is a horror film. And she said, they're very good, read it again.
So that's the thing, every episode is completely different. I'm about 4 series behind, but they are all so different.
They're very clever. And some of the ideas they come up with, oh my God, they're quite scary, aren't they? But I had a wonderful time. That blonde wig, I loved that they gave me a blonde wig. And to work with Phil Daniels, that was part of the reason I jumped at it. I just really think he's brilliant and really wanted to do it. And the guys themselves are so clever. I mean, to be in the company of that kind of talent, yeah, it was a joy to do, yeah. But yeah, the leg was, in fact, you saw the episode, obviously. I had a sort of, like, what they call it, like a pack-a-mac, you know, like a waterproof, transparent little mac on. And that was my idea, because I said, I don't want this costume ruined by the blood. The costume department loved me. They said, oh, thanks, that's brilliant. We get it back. But yeah, it was good to do. But I've done a couple of bloody things since then, and yeah.
So are you sort of doing a mild swear word, or are you saying that there was plenty of...
No, there was blood and gore.
Oh,
Does anybody know about Generation Z? Yeah, look, you're nodding but not smiling. That was a road trip and a half. I was very on the cusp about doing that, because I'm not really into horror films, but the director was so lovely, and a couple of mates of mine were on it, and I thought, you've never done it before, you're getting another first, so grab it. So I did. I played a zombie pensioner.
Do you mean Mrs. Fluff?
Yeah, she's not a zombie, but definitely a pensioner, yeah.
That's okay. We have time for one more question.
Got
Yes,
one
of course.
over here.
You too. No, it wasn't. We met at a preview of Down and Out in Beverly Hills, starring Bette Midler and Chris Christopherson, which I got invited to because I catapulted from 0 to 100 because of EastEnders. And so I got invited there, and we met briefly, and he invited me to go to see them play at Wembley, you know, the Magic Tour, which was the last tour that Freddie did. And so I'm very grateful that I saw him do that. And it was a slow burn. I was friends with Fred, really, to start with, for quite a long time. And then, you know, fate came along and delivered me Mr. A. I know.
That is a beautiful lead-in to our next panel, because there's another friend of Fred who's going to be on the stage in a minute.
I know who it is.
But in the meantime, please show your appreciation for the wonderful Anita Dobson.